Right, y'all give praise, esteem, and honor to the living Elohim in the name of Yahuah. Hump you out today. Pick it up in John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there they which testify of me. But you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not love of Elohim in you. I come by Abba's name, you receive me not. For another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you. The Abba, there's one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. If I had to believe Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? Praise be to Yahuah. Let's go ahead and hit this Psalm 55 on time. That light doesn't work that. Not that right there. So as for me, I will call upon Elohim, and Yahuah shall save me. Slow, man. Evening, morning, and at noon will I pray and cry aloud, and he shall hear my voice. He delivered my soul in shalom from the battle that was against me, for there were many with me. Elohim shall hear and afflict them, even he that abide of old, Selah. They have no changes, therefore they fear not Elohim. He forth his hands against such as be at shalom with him, he have broken his covenant. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords. Cast your burden upon Yahuah, and he shall sustain you. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. So I think the next point that we were arriving at is fiercely guarding his life as a producer, but we'll go ahead and move to this aspect of being emotionally detached. I want you to come to 2 Chronicles Chapter 19 for a direct, one of the first direct things that we will look at in regards to being emotionally detached. 19. Second Chronicles 19:1. And Jehoshaphat returned to his house in peace to Jerusalem, and Jehu the son of Hanani, the seer, went out to meet him and said to King Jehoshaphat, should you help the ungodly and love them that hate Yahuah? Therefore is wrath upon you from before Yahuah. Paul, this is the first element to look at. Do you see what he said to this man? Do you know why he said it to him? Do you know why the seer came out and said this to him? If you don't, it's fine. He was around there fooling with Ahab. Now back up a chapter. Look at verse 1. It says, now Jehoshaphat had riches and honor and abundance and joined affinity with Ahab. I wanted to pull up affinity for you to see affinity. And what does it say here? Kathan. What does this mean? To become a son-in-law, to make oneself a daughter's husband, a wife's father, a mother, father-in-law, mother-in-law, to make one your daughter's husband. So what does this mean that he's done with Ahab? He's become family with him, correct? Now I want you to pause, and I want you to come over here and just look at what the Lord said in Luke chapter 14. And then from there, I guess we'll get Matthew 19 after Luke 14 for another witness. Because, see, we're going to have to pull the part where I mentioned in the chat that, like, Joseph and they make it like Joseph and David had an emotional attachment. We would have to actually look at why they had an attachment. Because, who should Jonathan had an emotional attachment to? According to the concept that we're being discussed in the chat. You know who Jonathan had an emotional attachment to? His daddy. And if he'd had an emotional attachment to Saul, that means he would have had to have an attachment to disobedience and unbelief. He hitched his wagon to David for one reason and one reason only, because David was faithful to Yahuah. That's where their bond originated from. Their bond did not originate in anything emotional. You know what I'm saying? I know that women foster emotional bonds with one another, but men generally do not do that. Men's bonds are usually generated through a commonality of interest, shared life experiences, or values. You know what I'm talking about? Men don't sit around with one another and say, let's bond emotionally. If a woman walked in a room with a group of men talking about they were bonding emotionally and her man was in the room, she would be immediately disgusted and be planning her exit from said relationship. You know what I'm talking about? We can sit here and say it sounds good and people like it, but to see it in actual real life application, you would be disgusted. Because at this point, you'd be like, I am literally in a relationship with another woman. Because you don't expect that. How would you feel if your man sat down with you and looked you in the face and said, I want to emotionally bond with you? What would go through your mind? What's going through your mind right now as you think about that scenario? You look like you were thinking, huh? She said, maybe you found that to be humorous. That's not even tangible reality. Who would do that? Guess what? Shalom, man. Shalom, Brother Craig. Shalom, Sharon. Do you understand that it's niggas out here doing that? Do you understand it's women asking for men to do this? It ain't social media fault. They was doing this before social media. Shoot, it might be. And then you go out here looking for a nigga to do it, huh? Then you be like, he'll never do that with me. Roger, what's the name did it with for Shirley? That ain't real. They not real people. Have any of you ever said a man ain't do something that you seen somebody do in a movie and use the characters as the description? Oh, you done did it. How you looking? You done done it. Have you done that? You looking like you done that. Michael, you done did that? I think you telling the story. You telling the story. I know Lee ain't done it. At least I guess I don't do stuff like that. See? Shayla, you done did that before? Y'all ain't gonna tell the truth. We hooked y'all up to a lot of tech. It'll come back that is not the truth. You know what I'm talking about? But all jokes aside, who else we could think about in that regard? I'm trying to think of somebody else that had a problem. He was. With his daddy. Went right out there and did what he was supposed to do. The thing that Jonathan did is he covered for David, so David wouldn't get killed. Because see, what Russ shared in the chat, my love for you passed the love of women. See, that's how you don't understand the text, because them men didn't love their wives emotionally. Not if they were godly men, they loved their wives. Man, what you done did to that boy?
John, he said whom he loved.
Yeah, he didn't love that man emotionally. You know what I'm saying? It's different. With Lazarus, that wasn't emotional love. See, we're going to look at all that because their bonds were not full. It's unfortunate that men have taken that love as something emotional. That means you took that from a woman, because ain't no another man taught you that. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no man taught you that. A queer. Are you queer? Don't be queer. Luke 14:25. Come to me and have not his and hate not his father, mother, wife, children, brethren, sisters, yea, in his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. That sounds like to me a coming from the Lord's mouth that you cannot have any emotional attachments. Can't have them. Can't have them. Let's look at Matthew 19. The reason why we went to that Luke 14, because what did Jehoshaphat come to? What is his relation now to Ahab? If he joined in affinity with him, what is now his relation? They son-in-law, father-in-law, one of the two. They have now a familial relationship, and he has to be willing to hate those who don't love Yahuah, not to do what it is that you're supposed to do. do. See, it's much easier for a child and a woman to have an emotional attachment. Women are, so y'all always seek to bond with people who you care about. So they get me. Get you. I don't do that. All right, so you're the anomaly. He said you capping. Hooters. He said stop the cap.
Emotional state. I wouldn't grow up like this. And I don't feel like that's how I categorize people as my friends. I don't feel I agree.
Talking and crying ain't got nothing to do with emotional bonding. You being rude? You being disrespectful? Is that what you're doing? I asked you a question. I appreciate an answer. What'd you say? Oh, I need your voice to project as loudly as your interruption. Oh, yes. How come you so meek and demure now that you're on the spot? You thinking everybody looking at you like, oh, look him up and let's laugh at her. Nobody cares. Because you didn't care when you decided to let yourself be known while adults were talking. See, you weren't concerned with anyone thinking about you or looking at you then. Now, were you? That's exactly why you got to go to the service. That right there. That right there. Oh, I'm just saying, period. And you know that, I mean, that's what a lot of women like to do. Not me, but in general, when niggas go out here and look at it, women's bonds are usually in an emotional basis. They're usually not founded in the same things that men bond upon. They're not bonded upon shared values. They're not bonded upon the foundation of righteousness or anything of the sort. It's just not, absolutely not. That's not how women operate. It's not how women operated from the foundation of time, and it's not going to change. Yes.
What do you mean by
Emotional bonding, meaning that women bond with each other based off of feelings. How you feel about. So a man can deal with somebody and absolutely not care for him in any shape, form, or fashion. It makes absolutely no difference to him if there's an objective to be accomplished. Women prefer to deal with people who they like. Women can sit back and look at, I don't like her, don't even know her. You know what I'm saying? Men don't do that. That's not how men operate. I don't like him. If a man were to say that, nigga, like, nigga, you sound like a hoe. You don't like him, nigga, you don't even know this nigga. And we say niggas hoes. You know what I'm saying? Like, this nigga's hoe.
Like, women we don't like, we don't prefer not to think. That's true.
No, I'm talking about, but niggas will do business with somebody they don't like. Women won't. It doesn't matter about the personal basis. We care about the objective. Damn how I feel about you. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if I don't like you or not. Can you get something done for me as I get something done for you and everybody benefits? I don't personally care if I like you. That's irrelevant to me.
I feel like that's how I do, like, at work. I feel like
I would work with somebody, but like, I feel like men too, if you don't care for somebody, you gonna work with him.
I ain't talking about working with him like it's forfeit. I'm at the job, I have to work with you. There are men who are in business situations where they particularly like, I don't care for this person.
But like on your free time, when you can sit up, like free time, you're not.
We're not talking about free time. You got women who won't work with somebody who they don't care for if it will benefit them financially. Because you'll get your emotions get in the way. You know what I'm talking about? That's why he stated it's men who do that, and men frown upon men who think like that and operate like. We don't look at him and say that's a bastion of masculinity. This nigga's a buster. You gonna let your feelings get in the way of your money? Only reason I'm stating that is because women are led by their emotions, men are not. Y'all niggas can sit down and feel like crying and don't know what you're crying for.
No.
You just sitting there, what you crying? Oh no. This nigga just turn around and walk out the room. I ain't got time for this. And Saran made a good point. And that's why a woman can flip from love to hate like that. You know what I'm saying? Men don't flip from love to hate like that. You can love this nigga today and ready to rip his balls out tomorrow. Just a woman could be with a man for 10 years and leave and act as if this man never existed. And make it her business to do anything that she can to make his life miserable. Look at me with my new man, doing all type of stuff. Then throw it in his face, hoping that it puts a knife in his heart that jugs deeper and deeper, hoping that he's miserable and dying on the floor. Do you know what I'm talking about? And men don't operate like that. Men don't do that. Y'all be thinking, oh, like this here. Nah, this is like I told my dog this the other day. I done told you this before. See, I don't respect niggas who cheat on their wife if you told her she was going to be the only one. You know what I'm talking about? Nigga, look that woman in the face, because I had a conversation with somebody about this. Look that woman in the face and say, I want 3-4 hoes. Nigga, is you with it? Oh, see, most men ain't going to do that because she's scared she going to leave. Well, you's a buster. Why you care if she going to leave? If you want a 3-4 hole, why you compromise on what you want because you scared she going to leave? If that's what you want. And this dude literally had a nerve to say what she don't know won't hurt her. You ain't no man. Nigga, that mean you scared of a woman. You live in fear of a woman. You ain't no man. You want 4 hoes to say that. It'd be better served. How would you feel if a man walked up to you and said, I'm going to have me 4 wives. You want to be one? You say you would. Depending on the man, you just might. And I say that with anyone. Depending on the man. Most women will say no, but depending on the man, they just might.
Depends on the night.
And I ain't talking about sexually. I'm talking about depending on what kind of man he is, what he got going on. See, it's real easy for us to say what we wouldn't do in a situation because you'll never have the chance for it to get tested out 9 times out of 10. But a lot of women, see, like I said, it's a lot of women that if Chris Brown came and said, will you be my fifth wife, they ain't going to have no problem with that. They going to share it. I ain't saying all women, but a lot of women will. If Drake came and said, hey, man, I need you to be my 8th wife, a lot of women ain't going to have no problem with that. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to be like this here. I can be Dolo in the Honda, or I can be pushing the Benz. He do. And they don't have a problem with it. So it depends on the dude. And it ain't just the money aspect. I'm just using some 2 men that I've heard that a lot of women care for. So it just depends on the dude. Now, if he just a nigga, he around here working at Convergence, working at Etna downtown, you be like, no, nigga. I think I'm good. But if that nigga come and tell you, hey, I can put you on the yacht, it's docked down there on the riverside, you want to ride with me, you be like, well, shoot. Don't mind if I do. You know what I'm saying? I didn't say that because at the end of the day, you're gonna think about your survival. You may not care that you want to share him. But when you looking at your survival and your survival of you and your seeds are guaranteed and they're guaranteed at a high level, you'll begin to rethink the things that you say you wouldn't care for. You know what I'm talking about? That's all I'm talking about. Shalom, man. And I'm just looking at the general life. Because everyone may not go for that, but most will. Most will. But I say it depends on the man. He a regular dude, ain't got no level of masculinity in him. No, cuz. Absolutely not. You know what I'm saying? And to keep pointing what you said, you going to respect them for having the audacity and boldness to look you in your face first quarter and tell you that, because you know most men don't have that type of courage. The first thing gonna click in your brain, this is a different type of man. I ain't never had a man come tell me, oh, you gonna be, I'm gonna have other women. That's what it's gonna be. You know what I'm saying? I mean, most men aren't that bold. And say that and look at you like, and if you dip, that's on you. I ain't no worse for the wear. You know what I'm saying? Like, they ain't gonna be no different because I'm gonna have me 4 women regardless.
Definitely fine.
You know what I'm talking about? Y'all not used to encountering that because you used to, no, baby, don't leave. Yeah, I got that nigga. But when that nigga looking at you, like, shoot, they go to the door. You be like, well, damn. I ain't never had nobody. Now you become intrigued.
I think about it, it's double back.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just talking.
You don't think about it in the car.
You don't think about it in the car. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You go back.
That's all I'm saying. Like I say, it's an unlikely scenario.
On the table.
Long
I
ride
got a
home,
friend.
boy.
Long ride. Matthew 19. 19 and 27. Yeah, I mean, I say right. And going, we're not advocating. I'm just being honest with you. When you go thinking about it, because women break rules for certain men. Women break rules for certain men. There's certain things that they say, oh, I never do this or do that. Let it be the right man and she will. Let it be the right man and she will. See, when dudes be like, oh, I had to do this and do that, because you weren't that dude. That's why you had to do that. Because the dude that is that dude for her, he don't have to do all of that. Things that she say she wouldn't do, she gonna do. I don't cook for no nigga. Now all of a sudden, she making this nigga meals. You wondering what happened. She never do that for me. You wasn't that dude. You know what I'm saying? She get with you. She breaking bread with you. She ain't never break bread with him because you wasn't that dude. You know what I'm saying? That's all that is. And it don't be about the money, truth be told. It's the energy that is inside of that man. It ain't the money. Don't get it wrong. There's plenty of rich niggas that's tricks, hoes, and suckers and busters that don't get it. Like, he got to pay to get that type of that woman capping. He paying her for that. And you got dudes that ain't got to pay her nothing. Just pay her some attention. And she like this here, baby, you need some shoes. You need your back rub? You need some water? You need me to go to the moon, get you some moon milk? I'll go. Tubby man. I see you, boy. I see you, boy. I see you, boy. 1927, man. Then answered Peter and said unto him, behold, we have forsaken all and follow you. What shall we have therefore? Yahushua said unto them, truly I say unto you that that you which have followed me in the regeneration, when I shall sit in the throne of his esteem, you shall sit upon the 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Yasharal. Everyone that hath forsaken houses, brethren, sisters, father, mother, wife, children, or lands for my name's sake shall receive 100-fold and shall inherit everlasting life. Now, I just went to those two spots so you can see from the mouth of the Lord himself that you cannot be emotionally attached to anything. Now, let me show you Yahushua himself being emotionally detached from his mother. John 19. Then we'll go ahead and look at Yahushua being emotionally detached from Peter. Y'all know the verse where he was emotionally detached. Lisa, where was he emotionally detached from Peter? Cephas, if you will. You don't know. I thought you was nice with yours. Little bit. John chapter 19. You can pick it up at verse 17. Michael, do you know where he was emotionally detached from Peter? What about you, Civic? You know? That's unfortunate to the highest level. What about you, Pedro?
Oh, I thought you responded to me.
Oh, I didn't hear a word you said.
I said, is it the verse where he said, get behind him?
That is correct. That's it. John 19 and 17. Oh, hey, that's a good one there. We'll show you that one as well. John 19 and 17. He, bearing his stake, went forth into a place called a skull, which is called in the Hebrew Golgotha. When they crucified him, two other with him on the either side, and Yahushua in the midst. Pilate wrote the title and put it on the stake. And the writing was Yahushua Nazareth, Malach of the Yahudim. This title then read many of the Yahudim, for the place where Yahushua was crucified was near unto the city. It was written in Hebrew, Greek, and Latin. Then said the chief of the priests to the Yahudim to Pilate, write not the Malach of the Yahudim, but he said, I am the Malach of the Yahudim. Pilate answered, what I have written. Then the soldiers, when they had crucified Yahushua, took his garments, made 4 parts, to every soldier a part. Also his coat. Now the coat was without seam, woven from the top throughout. They said, therefore, among themselves, let us not rend it, but cast lots for it, whose it shall be. The scripture might be fulfilled. They say, they parted my raiment among them, and for my vesture they did cast lots. These things, therefore, the soldiers did. Now there stood by the stake of Yahushua his mother and his mother's sister, Mary, the wife of Cleophas, and Mary Magdalene. When Yahushua therefore saw his mother and his disciples standing by whom he loved, he said unto his mother, Woman, behold your son. And he said unto the disciple, Behold your mother. And from that hour, that disciple took her unto his own. At that point, do you understand, to be on that stake, to be able to do that, that takes a level of emotional detachment? Also, do you understand, when he was on the stake, he showed a place of emotional detachment, showing forth the fruits of the Ruach, or the riches of which he had possessed, when he said, Abba, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Because he could have been emotionally attached to his anger and then wished for his father's wrath to fall upon their head. It takes emotional attachment to be able to do that. Most people do not know how to detach emotionally. Oh, that's your hand. Do you understand what it means to detach emotionally, Michael? You look puzzled. I asked you a question. Do you know what it means to be detached emotionally? Yes. Do you know how to detach emotionally? No, the number one way to detach emotionally is to never allow your emotions to guide your decision making, no matter the situation, circumstance, or people involved. Now, I will say this here. This is just not a female thing. Most men don't know how to detach emotionally because they were never instructed on how to do so. So that's not just something like, oh, women are emotionally attached. Most people, period, are emotionally attached. But you have to be taught how to do that. You know what I'm saying? That's not, if you weren't raised that way, somebody has to teach you how to do that, unless life taught you that. You know what I'm saying? Most people, nobody taught them that. They weren't raised that way, and life didn't teach them. Meaning that you can't look at a situation and circumstance and divest how you may view a person and make the decision based off the information at hand and not necessarily how you feel about this particular individual. You understand? This is what David was able to do in not killing Saul. This was a man who was trying to kill him, and he had opportunities to kill him. But instead of being attached to his emotional rage, he detached himself from that to remain obedient to the word and say, I'm not going to do nothing to you. Yahuah going to deal with you however he choose to deal with you. He did the same thing when Abigail came and checked him when he was going to kill Nabal. And he said, you know what? You stopped me from avenging myself at my own hand, and showed him that if he did that, he was being emotionally attached to his anger. See, most people show their emotional attachment to things through their anger. You know what I'm saying? And then they let their anger lead whatever direction that they're going to go in. Now, of course, we read in Matthew 19 and the Luke 14 to show you, to serve Yahuah, you must detach emotionally from everyone. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You can't let your bond to your... See, it's even in the law. Matter of fact, before I even go any further, can y'all tell me where in the law it shows you that you must be emotionally detached? Because it's in your law. And I told that nigga that. I told a nigga that on the phone. Excuse me. Lil Muffin. Lil Muffin, I see you. Hey, Lil Muffin. Come here, Lil Muffin. You over there hiding with your vittles. I see you. I see you, Lil Muffin. I see you, Lil Muffin. Where is it in your law that tells you that you need to emotionally detach? I don't even know who said that. Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't see you. I thought somebody was throwing their voice. I ain't even cap. I'm telling you, I wouldn't be fine. Like, I don't know who the hell that is. I don't see nobody lips move. What you say now? Indeed. Let's go to Deuteronomy 13. I can't dispute with you that either. That is an emotional detachment. You talking about Yahuah, son of Nun, chapter 24. We could deal with it too, because he definitely tells them to divest yourself from that. That is accurate. That is not incorrect. Deuteronomy chapter 13, verse 4. I say I can roll with that one there too. Each mentioned Aaron and his sons. We'll look at that. That is like it ain't just one now.
Yeah.
I wasn't saying it like it was just one. It's a lot. Because of course, living in the culture that we live in, if you was to say, "Oh, you need to be," it sounds like a dirty word. And we want to say that because it sounds like when you say it, like you don't care about people. Yes, that's where we at. We're in the road. Yeah, we just started that verse. Well, that's where we at. That's where we headed. That's the road we traveled. Oh, so you jumped on the exit ramp with us.
I didn't know that.
No, I'm saying, I mean, you jumped on the exit ramp with us. Okay, you travel down the same road we travel. That's in Deuteronomy chapter 10. That's what we went to 2 Chronicles 19 for, because that's what he gonna say to Ahab, say to Jehoshaphat. That's just spring. We ain't even got. That's why we went to 2 Chronicles 19. We ain't got it yet. Deuteronomy 13:4. You shall walk after Yahuah your Elohim and fear him and keep his instructions. Obey his voice, you shall serve him and cleave unto him. And the prophet or that dreamer of dreams shall be put to death. I didn't read verse 3 before that. We're really going to have to read verse 1 for full context for those who don't know. If there arise among you a prophet or dreamer of dreams, and he give you a sign of wonder, and the sign of wonder come to pass, whereof he spake unto you, saying, let us go after other gods which you have not known, let us serve them, and you shall not hearken unto the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams. For Yahuah your Elohim proved you to know whether you love Yahuah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul. See, that's the point right there. Because y'all know the beast and the false prophet going to do these things. See, people are emotionally attached to wondrous things. If you see something magnificent, that's why a lot of women can be swayed when you shine shiny objects in their face. You know what I'm talking about? That's that's just human nature. You got to understand something. The flesh is the flesh. It operates how it operates. It doesn't mean that you're necessarily shalom, man. It doesn't necessarily mean you're a horrible individual. It just means that you hadn't gained mastery over your nature. You know what I'm saying? Because if a nigga pull up in a Honda Accord and a nigga pull up in a Rolls Royce, that shiny object is going to sway you. It's going to sway you. And then on the opposite, niggas get got all the time. These niggas you hear all these men be crying about bad contracts they get signed with. Well, what do you think they use to persuade young men to sign these bad contracts? They shine shiny stuff in their face. You know what I'm talking about? They shine this shiny stuff in your face. You are amused. See, people who have mastery over themselves will not allow something like that to dictate their decision making. Exactly. Like we were looking at that. She used an example when Old Dirty Bastard had a chance to get his record deal. And one company was saying, after 20 years, you'll get all your masters back. But you were looking at Shiny. I want to be on Def Jam. And Shiny is swaying. He didn't have control over his flesh. But your cousin did. And he made the decision that was actually sound because he was emotionally attached to Def Jam. And he was not emotionally attached to anything other than making the best deal possible. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, that's not a female thing. I don't want y'all to look at certain aspects and think that that's a female thing. It's a human being thing. And that's something that you have to be taught, hey, you shouldn't do that. This is the detriment of you doing that. Most people, if they don't get taught it, unfortunately, life teaches it to them. And usually when life teaches it to you very harshly. Hey, this is what y'all not finna do. Get your behind somewhere, sit down, stop moving, pay attention. That's it. This is not a hangout session. This ain't a playroom. This ain't none of that. And if you cannot abide by those instructions, then there's a nice yard, right? And you can sit in the grass and look stupid. So which choice would y'all like to make? Oh, y'all like to sit inside, wouldn't you? Then act like you got some sense and conduct yourself with order. And let this be the last time that I have to say that to you. Deuteronomy chapter 13 and verse 4. Michael, if you knock over my light stand, I'm going to knock over your jaw. Not for real. Good to see you, sir. How are you doing? Are you well? You shall walk after Yahuah your Elohim and fear him and keep his instructions and obey his voice. And you shall serve him and cleave unto him. And that prophet or that dreamer or dream shall be put to death. Indeed, sir. Indeed. Indeed. That is correct. That is another one. Because he has spoken to turn you away from Yahuah your Elohim, which have brought you out of the land of Mizraim, to redeem you out of the house of bondage, to thrust you out of the way, which Yahuah your Elohim commanded you to walk in, so shall you evil away in the midst of you. If your brother, the son of your mother, or your son, or your daughter, or the wife of your bosom, or your friend, which is as your own soul, because is that not what Jonathan and David said? Entice around about you, near unto you, or far from you, or from one end of the earth, even unto the other end of the earth. You shall not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him. Neither shall your eye pity him, neither shall you spare, neither shall you conceal him, but you shall surely kill him. Your hand shall be first upon him to put him to death, and afterwards the hand of all the people. And you shall stone him with stones that he die, because he have sought to thrust away from you, Yahuah your Elohim, which brought you out of the land of Mizraim, out of the house of bondage. Now, see, I'm going to tell you something about most brews. I'm going to tell you how some of these brews operate, how hypocritical they are. They'll be ready to put that stone up against somebody they don't know. But if it's somebody they do know, then they ain't going to want to do it. You know what I'm saying? You know why people ain't ready to do that? Because you don't have an emotional attachment to the person you don't know. But you got the emotional attachment to the person that you do know. He's telling you, I don't care who it is, you're going to have to be detached, which is all that Matthew 19 and Luke 14 was telling you, you're going to have to detach. That is a hallmark of a peak value man. He is not emotionally, because again, how can he reward his friends and punish his enemies if he's emotionally attached? If you're emotionally attached, you can't even be able to discern who your enemies are. So then how would you be able to punish them? But again, we're talking about somebody who has power. See, if you don't have power, then you're not thinking about punishing your enemies and rewarding your friends. You don't have anyone you could punish or reward. But when you begin to take upon power in your life, then you can punish people. See, and again, punishing is not necessarily killing someone or putting your hands on them. Punishing them can be simple as removing yourself from their presence. And that's a punishment for them, because now they can no longer receive the benefits that they received from your presence. I.e., who did we mention last night? We mentioned who? Saul. Yahuah punished him when he showed himself to be his enemy. What did it say he did? He took his ruach away from him and gave him an evil one. And that evil one tormented him. And then he went around seeking Yahuah's voice and never could hear it, because Yahuah was punishing him because he was his enemy. Now, we mentioned that's the Deuteronomy 13. What else we got up here, right? Let's go to Leviticus chapter 10. See, that's another aspect of a blessing, being a man, is that you have the ability to create and have access to power. Now, see, the difference is, what does a man do if he is able to actually get access to the power, which will actually determine what manner of man he actually is? Because see, people say power corrupts. And it does. You know what I'm saying? Power corrupts, because if you give a case in point, well, a lot of dudes who teach the word now, when you give a man who was a slave in a square, he was looked over, disregarded, you know what I'm saying, this, that, there, and the third, and you give him the ability to have power to affect other people's lives, he is going to misuse it. He's going to misuse it, because now in his mind, he has the opportunity to strike back at all the people that he ever felt overlooked him or did him wrong.
You just said the same thing what happened with Hazel in 2 Kings 8. As soon as he got power, when Elisha told him, he said he's going to kill the children of Israel. He was just a servant.
Yeah, the power is going to corrupt. You know, everybody can't handle power. When you talking about having ultimate authority and autonomy, I can do what I want, when I want, unilaterally or bilaterally. I don't have to ask anybody. I can do what I want. when I want. That's why he said he that ruleth amongst men must be just. He has to be a righteous man to have power. That's why I say every man does not deserve power because he can't handle it. That's why you had all these square niggas for years. See, I can buy 48 laws of power. Oh, nigga, you ain't got power over your life. That book ain't giving you power over nobody, boy. You make yourself feel like you're smart because you done read this book talking about you using this here. You still broke. You can't be powerful and be broke. Nowhere in human history has a powerful man been broke. Because the Lord was powerful. He was broke. That man wasn't broke. He looked like he was broke to you. That man had all the riches you could think of. Man wasn't broke. Power and lack of resources don't go hand in hand. Those two things don't go together. You know what I'm saying? You have never seen throughout recorded human history a man that lacked resources that had power. When Yahuah set Yasharal up, he made sure you had resources because you can't have power without resources. That's not how power works. Because you don't have the ability to influence and dictate with your resources and also leverage and negotiate with other people to be beneficial to your constituents. You know what I'm saying? So that's just not how that works. Leviticus chapter 10 and verse 1. Which goes back to the point that we were talking about last night. Would you have married yourself to Yahushua if he didn't have no resources? No, you wouldn't have. Because that means he's not able to provide for you. He's not able to give you a better quality of life than the life that you had before you met him. Why would you do it? Doesn't make sense. Little Muffin, I see you over there. What you doing? Leviticus 10 and 1. And Nadab, Abihu, the sons of Aaron, took either of them his censer, put fire therein, put incense thereon, offer strange fire before Yahuah, which he commanded them not. And there went out fire from Yahuah and devoured them, and they died before Yahuah. And Moses said unto Aaron, this is it, that Yahuah spake, saying, I will be sanctified in the eye of them that come near me, and before all the people I will be esteemed. And Aaron held his peace. What are you going to say? What are you going to say? Now, there's two other. Now, you know what came to mind thinking about Aaron and them? Because guess what? Because Miriam couldn't be emotionally detached. That's why she was leprous for that time period. Because she was running her mouth against who? Moses and Aaron. And he said, what you doing talking about Aaron? I'm talking about Moses. What's wrong with you? Let's take a look at it, Numbers 13. Or is that Numbers 3? I think it's Numbers 3. We might be at one of them. Yeah, Numbers chapter 12. 12 and 1. My bad. Aaron was right there with him, being a sucker. Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman who he had married, for he married an Ethiopian woman. And they said, have you indeed spoken only by Moses? Have he not spoken also by us who heard it? Now the man Moses was very meek above all the men which were upon the face of the earth. And Yahuah spake. Look at you. Look at you. Leave people. I don't care. You ain't got no business touching it. Who you calling? If I took it out your hand, that don't mean for you to go get it again. Raise your hand at me, boy. I slap your skin off your face. Now the man Moses was very meek above all the men which were upon the face of the earth. And Yahuah spake suddenly unto Moses and unto Aaron and unto Miriam, come you three unto the tabernacle of the congregation. And they three came out. Yahuah came down in the pillar of the cloud and stood in the door of the tabernacle, called both Aaron and Miriam. And they both came forth. And he said, hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, Yahuah, will make myself known unto him in a vision and will speak unto him in a dream. My servant Moses is not so, who is faithful in all my house. With him will I speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, and not in dark speeches. And the similitude of Yahuah shall he behold. Wherefore then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? See, they couldn't detach emotionally. Now, luckily for them, Yahuah didn't kill him. Now you see why they talked against him? It wasn't even about the Ethiopian woman. It was about the fact that they say that we could do it too. See, you see that on the second part. Have Yahuah indeed spoken only by Moses? Have he not spoken by us? They used the Ethiopian woman as the cap. But in reality, they felt like we equal as him. Why he get all the shine, but it's the difference. Yahuah spoke to him directly. No dark speeches, no similitudes, no nothing. He didn't do that with them. And they couldn't detach from that. That's what got your man Korah in trouble too. Ended up getting him killed and everybody who was down with him. That's what happens when you don't emotionally detach. When again, like to keep it simple, scripture-wise, emotional attachment is always just dealing with being attached to your flesh. Because your emotions ain't nothing but with the root of your flesh. Emotions come from the flesh. Emotions don't come from the inner man. The man of Elohim, that's not where they come from. Yeah, Tavon put that on there. We're going to read that in a moment. You know what I'm talking about? And again, when most people hear this, you know what they actually hear? Like you're saying, emotions are a bad thing. Emotions are a bad thing when you allow them to dictate how you make decisions. That's when emotions become a bad thing. Emotions in and of itself are natural because it's the flesh. You can't avoid that. You're not going to live an emotionless life. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to happen. But when you go to dealing with your emotions lead you and you make decisions by them, that's when they become negative. And they become doubly negative when you are attached to something based off of your flesh or your emotions. Because again, you're going to make a decision based off your flesh and emotions, and it's going to be to your detriment. See, it was detriment for Miriam, as you finna read, because he told her dad should have spit in her face, and she wouldn't be ashamed 7 days. Oh, you looking like you don't know nothing about that verse. You know about it, don't you? Could you imagine if you all, when some of y'all were rebellious as a young woman, if your daddy would have walked up and spit in your face? Just like this, tired of your. Who? You talking about which father? The father who nutsack you came from? We ain't dealing with no stepdaddy because such a thing didn't exist in those times. I don't even know who came up with that terminology. I guess I'm your step-in daddy. That's tough. I'm your step-in mama. I'm stepping in for your daddy. You can't step in for nobody, daddy. Can't step in for nobody, mama. No, they say this here like somebody say I'm a stepmom. You can't be no stepmom because you don't have that bond with that baby because that baby didn't grow in your womb for 9 months. That's a bond you'll never have with that child. You know what I'm talking about? I can't step in and be your dad because I'll never have the bond that you're going to have with the man whose DNA you come from. That's a DNA bond. That's a flesh and blood bond. That can't be broken. That cannot be broken. Look here, man. Too many of y'all have seen too many stories of grown people who like, I want to find my daddy. Whether they was adopted, whether their daddy wasn't there. I want to find my biological mama. There's a bond there. There's a yearning. It's different. It's not the same. You done see people who were adopted, lived in a home with loving adoptive parents and all that there, and they like, boy, I want to find my people. You know what I'm saying? You can't break that bond. Yeah, people that loved you, gave you the best life they could afford it, but they don't, you're not the same DNA as them. It's not the same. You know what I'm talking about? Shoot, boy, you could be 2 years old, you could be 22 years old, but boy, a part of you go to clicking in your brain, I want to find my people. Now, is this 100%? No, nothing in life is 100% except out of you. Well, they just didn't know the difference because nobody ever told them that wasn't their parents. But guess what? But then when you find out, when them children find out that that mama were really Auntie Sadie, them niggas want to find out who their people is a lot of the time. And they be pissed off. But see the bond, but then because they flesh and blood. But when that reality hit, they find out You ain't my flesh and blood. Now they want to go find their people. Lying to me my whole life. What bond? Was a bond based off of lies, deceit. Yeah.
That's what happened with Ezekiel Cross, man.
It could. I don't know. It might be. That junk, I don't know if it's tripping on this side. Sade. No, but see, this the thing is, this is what they get upset about. Hold on, man. Tavon said kids he knew from working in lockup, they could be the worst parent, but they yearn for their family regardless. You know what I'm saying? But no, I'm just saying, well, his point is this here, right? You believe the bond is based off of, this is my mother and father. Then you find out this your cousin, this your uncle. So the bond that you thought what it really wasn't. Now you wondering, who is my daddy? Who is my mom? Because that's a biological link, and it can't, nothing can come in between that other than the child not wanting to deal with them. You know what I'm saying? Because some kids grow up and say, you know what, I don't care if I don't never talk to that woman. I don't never talk to my dad. You know what I'm talking about? Others be like this here. Shoot, I need to find my people. You know what I'm saying? Some of them do. Some of them just want to have, some of them, I just want to have a bond with my mama. I want a bond with my daddy. Yeah, because at the end of the day, that's their DNA. It ain't the same. You know what I'm saying? Only people who really push that are women to make it like this here. Oh, they can step in and replace him. No, he can't. I can be your new mom. No, you can't. Absolutely, because the surrogate mom been done bonded with the baby who she doesn't care, even though this ain't her DNA. There's a lot of them didn't want to get a baby away. Baby, that wasn't your sperm or your egg. You just was an incubator, but she like to say, I felt the baby move in me. She feel like it's her baby. Because that's what they say Beyonce did. They say Kim Kardashian did the same thing, allegedly. They had surrogates. Because I can't mess up this body. Kim K messed with her face. Boy, that nigga look like a gremlin. That nigga don't even look right.
That's what the brat finna be doing.
That's what the brat them finna be doing. 12 and 9 numbers. It might be, man, I don't know what's going on with this junk. It ain't popped up on this side, though. I can tell you. Children, tame it down. You ain't got no business talking. You ain't got nothing to talk about. Your lives aren't interesting. Come here, Abigail. Hey, Abigail. How are you? Are you okay? Are you sure? And the anger of Yahuah was kindled against them, and he departed. The cloud departed from off the tabernacle. Behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. Aaron said unto Moses, Alas, my Lord, I beseech you, lay not the sin upon us, wherein we have done foolishly, and wherein we have sinned. Let her not be as one dead, of one whom the flesh is half consumed, when he come out of his mother's womb. Moses cried unto Yahuah, and saying, I heal her now, O Elohim, I beseech you. Yahuah said unto Moses, if her father had but spit in her face, she should not be ashamed 7 days. Let her be shut out from the camp 7 days, and after that, let her be received in. I remember the first time somebody heard me tell Sharon that, boy, they were like, well, they go, what? They didn't even know that was book. You know what I'm saying? They say all the spit in your face. And all that meaning is a level of humility, because in Hebrew culture, remember, right, he that have his shoe loose, and what it says she got to do, spit on him too, didn't it? That's disrespectful to us right there, boy. Straight up. He say, I want to have a little fun. Don't spit in my face. Genesis 22.
Don't worry about it. You got spit in the face on it.
He got spit in. He said he didn't want. He wanted to spit, but not get spit. It ended up getting split.
He was between a rock and a hard.
A rock and a hard place. Woo! Genesis 22:1. After this, we go to Hebrews 11. And he said, no, cuz. And I'm not being funny with it though, but in Hebrew culture, of course, you can see that was a sign of you need to humble yourself for somebody to spit in your face. And take the shoe off your foot and spit in your face. Deuteronomy 25, for those who think we did making something up. You didn't want to raise seed to your brother, they would spit in your face. Which is probably why intrinsically black men take it 10 times more respect. Because boy, you basically saying, I need to humble myself. To humble me, sir. Just imagine if the Lord, when he came back, before killing people, he just went around and spit in their face. Then hit you with the sword. That ain't what you want in your life, man. He said he gonna spit you out. But just imagine he come spit in your face. Nigga. Sissy behind, boy. Look at this idolater. Adulterer. You don't deserve no honor. You ain't a man of honor. That what it, all jokes aside, that's what it really means. You're not a man of honor and respect. So therefore, you worthy of me to spit in your face. Do something. Now, back in the day, though, you spit in front of a man, y'all have negotiations. Even if you do it on the floor. Oh, I know, because I done seen it before. Because there's films where they show that two men be standing there, he telling you, nigga, F you, and it's whatever. What's up? Yeah, they may necessarily own you, but if he was standing in front of talking to you, then he'd be like this. He done told you what's happening. Whatever you want to do, that's how I feel about you right now. He told you no story, that's historical record. Them niggas spit on the ground. You know what I'm saying? That was a more Caucasian thing, but that's what they did. Because the bruises was spitting in your face.
Yeah, see,
I feel like spit in your face. I want to spit on the ground. If you want to fight, you can. Otherwise, move.
Shoot, I take it as both. Same way when I told him up, and that boy kept walking by, that white boy, then he said, "Fought again." He said, "I take that you invite me to your butt." He would just walk past fart. You know what I'm saying? Because when you fought one more time, boy, I'm telling you. We're in the county. He's like this here. He said, "I feel like you invite me to your butt. Stop doing that." Genesis 22:1, man. We talking about emotional attachment. It came to pass after these things that Elohim did tempt Abraham and said unto him, Abraham, and he said, behold, 22:1. He said, take now your son, your only son, only Isaac, whom you love, get to the land of Moriah, offer him therefore a burnt offering upon the mountains, which I tell you of. Abraham rose up early in the morning, saddled his ass, took two of his young men with him, Isaac his son. They clave the wood for the burnt offering and rose up and went into the place which Elohim had told him. Then on the third day, Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place. Let's drop down a little bit. Verse 7. Isaac spake unto Abraham his father and said, my father. And he said, here am I, my son. He said, behold, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? Abraham said, my son Elohim will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went, both of them together. They came to the place which Elohim told him of, and Abraham built an altar there and laid the wood in order and bound Isaac his son and laid him upon the altar upon the wood. Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son. Malachim Yahuah called him out of Shamahim and said, Abraham, Abraham. He said, here am I. He said, lay not your hand upon the lad, neither do you anything unto him. For I know now that you fear Elohim, seeing that you not withhold your son, your only son, from me. Now come over here to Hebrews 11 and let it expound on it a little further. All right, Hebrews 11 and 17. Come here, Renee. Come here, Renee. Are you about to turn? Oh, you are. Oh, you're a big one. Hebrews 11 and 17. By faith, Abraham, when he was tried, offered up Isaac. And he that had received the promises offered up his only begotten, of whom it was said that in Isaac shall your seed be called, accounting that Elohim able to raise him from the dead, from hence also he received him in a figure. This is why Abraham was able to emotionally detach. He was able to emotionally detach because he was spiritually attached to what Yahuah had promised him. See, you got to be attached to Yahuah and detached from the world. That's why he said, love not the world, neither things that are in the world. Because everything that is of the world, the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life is of the world and not of Elohim. But where we needed to go at after that, boom, boom. I think we got everything outside of that. Let's come back and get that John chapter 21. Where Yahushua showing a little bit of emotional attachment, and then to the Matthew 16 with Peter, because we ain't get over there to that. Then we shall return back to 2 Chronicles chapter 19. Also, you know who didn't show attachment? Their names escaped me. The ones that were trying to get over on Peter. Because his wife's supposed to be emotionally detached from her husband and co-signing on what he had going on. Because you went along with it. You know, a lot of men gonna get killed and have gotten killed because they go along with their old lady. There's a lot of stuff that men do that they don't want to do because they scared that woman gonna get upset. Because they scared she gonna leave. Like Delilah did Samson. Nag him to death. That's why you can't give it that. That's why I just told her, you got to make sure your woman happy. That's a never-ending battle. That's a battle a man can never win. Trying to keep a woman happy is an impossible task. You can't do it. It's impossible. Yeah. That's exactly why he did. It's the attachment emotionally. Hey, nigga say,
Can't stop. He said, I want to stop.
Man, who at the door?
He said, she's ill.
Huh?
He said, she's ill, man.
Now, she was saying that most men don't look to see if their woman's happy. But I told you before, happiness is an emotion. It's an ebb and a flow. And if you always seeking to try to keep somebody happy, then you're going to be a slave to their emotions. And as a man, you can't afford to be slaves to the woman. You can't afford to do it. It's going to take you off your purpose. Because then you'll be living your lives based on what you can do to make her happy. And the more that you do it, the less she respects you. Excuse me. That doesn't sound good. That internet Steve Harvey relation type junk till you start putting that junk in effect in real life and see that junk don't get the results that they told you were going to get. You know what I'm saying? Because now you just like Buddy talking about he's smoking cigarettes every day. 75 years old, killing himself. He don't even want to smoke 2 packs a day. He's smoking 2 packs because he's trying to keep her happy. But I say she doesn't know. Most women don't know because they don't deal with women. They only find out when they decide to become a lesbian. And then they understand what men deal with when they have to be with a woman. You get 2 women together? Oh, my land. That's a recipe, an explosion for disaster. That boy said he ain't never seen an old collision in the cup because you're going to have to cycle them old women out. Straight up and down. Man, one woman is enough to deal with, much less talking about 3, 4. But you know, women don't know because they don't deal with women. Y'all have no idea what it's like to be with a woman. Y'all be thinking like, it's all good. Shoot, you be wondering, like he said, this man talking about he's 75 years old. He's smoking 2 packs a day. This woman get on his nerves. Y'all be thinking this nigga your dirty draw. That nigga can't stand you. I'm being.
You just walk up with it. I ain't asking nothing.
Man, and you know the crazy part is, every man in here probably could tell you a story where they were somewhere random and some old dude just go to walking up, man, my doggone wife, I hate that goddamn woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, nigga, where that come from? You know what I'm saying? Dude just come up out of nowhere. Always old niggas too, 65 plus. Tell you he been with this woman 30, 40 years. I can't stand her. He ain't with me though. Well, y'all could be with a nigga can't stand it for 10 minutes and you gone. Well, that nigga gonna stay there and that nigga gonna be like, well, I hate this hoe. You be like, why you don't leave, old school? Man, I've been with her 30 years, man. What's the point? You think around here, my husband loves me. This, that, there, and the third. That nigga do stuff for you so you shut up. He take you here so you leave him alone. That nigga don't want to go. You know what I'm talking about? But see, it's not a roller coaster. It is a roller coaster with the wrong one, but it's not a roller coaster with the wrong one. Because once you realize you're on a roller coaster, it's time to get off. See, I don't get on roller coaster. So I'm not going on an emotional roller coaster with no woman. I'm not getting on the ride because I ain't getting on a real roller coaster. You know what I'm saying? I don't care for it. I don't see the allure. I mean, for me, I don't see the allure. I don't see the allure. Let me be upside down going 70 miles an hour. I don't see the excitement in that. That doesn't attract me. Never had. I don't see the allure. No, I don't see the allure of any of those things. I go what? I'm in a car. It's not anything about danger. I said I don't see the allure.
Like you gotta try before you make that assumption.
It's not an assumption. The allure means I don't see the attraction. I don't see the desire. There's no desire to me that says, you know what, that looks like something that's fun. There's no allure there. That's just like there was no allure to me smoking crack. Nigga be like, to see, you won't know till you smoke it.
Yeah. That's the same. It's all the same.
To that point.
Just like this here. Some niggas don't see the allure of no game. I knew niggas that allured them. They were attracted to that. Like they wanted to participate in that.
No, that was a good point.
Yeah.
I didn't have an allure to it. To me, it was like, shoot, there's an opportunity. I do what I got to do. I'm finna get this money. And there was other niggas like, well, I want to be a gangster. I want to be the dope man.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I'd rather have a drill 190 upside. Not even scared, not even being scared. Just I don't want to do that wet.
I mean,
I've been keeping it a buck though. No, that's what I'm saying.
Saran said a couple of guys want to go skydiving. Like my cousin been skydiving. I never seen the allure in that. Like, what's attractive about getting out of a plane and jumping? I mean, some people, what they call it? Some people are thrill seekers. I'm not. It's just like I said. Some people see the allure of going in the woods and hunting. You know what I'm saying? That nigga, that crazy. No, I ain't talking about going. I'm talking about literal hunting. Like I know a lot of white dudes, boy, they look forward going to Georgia every year and hunting. I ain't never been allured to any of that stuff. Like that junk didn't seem fun to me. Like, ooh, it's gonna do it for me. Let me get on all these rides. That doesn't do nothing for me. John chapter 21, verse 15. Matter of fact, before we do John 21, verse 15, we're going to have to do this. We're going to have to do the Matthew 16 now.
This is the Lord.
Get money. And Lord,
And you ain't lying, because you do got some niggas out here don't want to get no money. I don't see the allure.
Hey, niggas got out of the gun line.
that's it right there.
Hey, you got some people who don't like guns, and you got some people who have an allure to it. Not just, I got some guns like, nigga, I need a new Glock 40, I need the SIG, I need this, I need that. They loved it. And you'll be like this here, like, nigga, I don't want no guns, nigga. Oh, that nigga love them guns. Love them.
Break them down, put them back together.
Look here, man, you got dudes that love guns so much, they like to take them apart and clean them in your face, having a conversation with you like they washing a baby. Yeah, man, yeah, you know, the other day, man, I went to the store. Hey, hand me that right there. You know what I'm saying? Like this here, you like, nigga, you just gonna clean a weapon in front of me? Everybody different. You be like, you don't want to get on a roller coaster? You be like, no. The same person say they don't want to get a roller coaster or be looking at you crazy when I'm on the highway going 140.
That's me.
That's what a car's for.
But now, like my cousins, they like to do 140, 150, but roller coasters, they ain't on that. I'm not getting in a car that's on 140.
So that'd have been in a nigga who had a Grand National with the boost on that hole. I'm like, this here nigga, you flipping, we dead today. That nigga was riding too, boy. You know what I'm talking about?
I like it.
Nigga, I'm telling nigga, this early 2000, nigga, you know the Grand National is, man? With the kid. You know what I'm talking about? Nigga, Buick Grand National, nigga, with the kid. Man, that nigga we was shooting down Mayport Road going by the good leaf 140. You know what I'm talking about? That nigga said, hold on, boy, I'm finna hit the button. That nigga hit that hole. I'm like, shoot, nigga, long we ain't got no dope in this old nigga. Right out. You know what I'm talking about? Nigga, I'm like, shoot, we in here now. You know what I'm talking about? I don't mind driving fast, but I just like to drive fast. Nigga, you ain't never rolled with me, nigga. The lies, the stories.
You on 2 wheels.
What'd you say? What? What'd you say?
Turbo.
My boy ran over them ducks.
The duck killer.
Duck killer.
Duck asked for it. I gave it to him.
They
flopping on the street.
They shouldn't have been in the street. We ain't killed no duck, nigga. Oh, Sade say she the bad girl when she go to the, she holding everybody bag. So y'all know, y'all take Sade with you. She gonna hold your stuff. You can go in there and get all the thrills you want. Look at you, I like it.
I'm a user.
You heard how she said, I like it.
They said you a locker trip. What?
I ain't gonna lie, the older I get, I took another day. Some stuff I ain't getting on no more. Some stuff I might
Yeah. Like the third.
How you gonna tell nigga to stay home because they don't want to get on all that junk, nigga?
They say locker trips.
Man, Matthew 16 to 13. What you mean? What they good for? What you give a damn for? Cause y'all already nigga know, nigga, I ain't getting on nothing. I mean, that's a water park. Nigga, I ain't with none of that junk. Nigga, I don't trust them crackers like that. Trying to kill me. You know what I'm talking about? But all those like nigga in my life as a child, boy, I ain't never like, let me get on this, I ain't care about none of that junk. That just didn't excite me. My cousin is a thrill seeker. I'm not a nigga like, let me seek thrills. Let my heart rate be accelerated. I'm not into that. Nigga, I like to smoke reefer. That means I like to chill. No, you smoke. I like to smoke marijuana. Man. I want to chill all the time. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about all the time. I don't want nothing to accelerate my heart rate. Leave me alone. You niggas with that rallies, I'm going to get you from around me. I don't want to do none of that. Don't drive fast while I'm smoking. Don't do nothing quick while I'm smoking. Everything slow.
Hey, that's how you see the whole play open up.
Everything slow, man.
Sit back and watch it.
Matthew 16 and 30. I ain't know none of that. I like to relax. You know what I'm talking about? I just told my dog them that the other day, man. You nigga be with that rally nigga always fight over it in the third. I'm gonna get from around you because you gonna blow my high. I don't do no Ferris wheel. I don't do none of that. It ain't about I done been on the Ferris wheel, and when I was on it, I was like, yeah, this don't do nothing for me. It didn't even get me down. Like I did this just to be like, woo, we're way up here. That was a waste of my time and resources. I didn't get any excitement. I don't give a, I'm not watching y'all. I mean, hey, I'm just here. Most of the time, hey, I'm gonna keep honest with you and move on. That's why I ain't never been to Disney World. That's why I ain't because I don't want to go to any of these places. I don't want to do none of this. Shoot, lying to me, I'm gonna go get me some money. F them kids. I'm going to get me some money. You know what I'm talking about? But I'm telling you, I done felt like this my whole life. My mama said they went to Disney World. I'm like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to do any of this. I don't want to see Mickey Mouse. I don't want to get on no rides. I don't want to do none of this. I don't want to do none of this. For what? It didn't look like, oh, this is something I like to do. They go like, yeah, let's go to niggas like that grad night. Nigga, F grad night. I ain't going to this crap. For what? And to spend, I got to spend all this money. We got to spend money to dress up, to hang with niggas. I've been hanging. To go to somewhere I don't want to go. Hey, man, everybody different, man. People like what they like. I don't like it. I say there was never an allure for me personally. Never. To my teenage years, all that. I ain't never come on, Mom, can we go to such and such? I didn't care. We went. I didn't care. I don't want to go. You want to go to Six Flags? For what? That's not fun for me. I would have more fun watching a football than I would going to a theme park. For me personally. You know what I'm saying? There's other things that I would get fun from. Depending on the artist, I would have more fun at an art show than going to a theme park. That's not fun for me. I don't derive any excitement out of any of that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, different for me. And I've always felt like this. I ain't just get like this when I was grown. I felt like this as a child. Water parks, I'm good with a water park. I ain't got no problem with it.
I was close to it 200 last time.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? Because we went there, they don't like, oh, you want to go to walk? Yeah, we can go. We went to them when I was a kid, but they like Disney World, this, that, and a concert. I'm good on that. I'm not paying money to see a nigga. It got to be somebody. I would have paid money to see Anita Baker. I'm not paying money to see no rapper. I'm not paying no money to see this nigga. For what? I'll put this CD on. Nigga, when Jay-Z came, nigga was like, yeah, boy, you gonna see Jay? This is back in 99. I'm like, hell no. I don't want to see that nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, for what? Anita Baker, I pay cash money to see her perform. So it would. You know what I'm talking about? No hesitation. She performing again in Vegas right now. I pay money to see because that's something for me. That's entertaining. I pay to see her. I feel like that's worth my money. Me seeing a rapper, that ain't worth my money. I like Ghostface and Raekwon. I'm not paying to see them niggas perform. I'm not paying to see Jay-Z perform. I'm paying to see Baker. You know what I'm talking about? Straight up.
That reminds me of that little thing they keep posting talking about. You want to dinner with the rapper, or you want him to give you $30,000?
You let me get that bread.
They said, let me get that bread. Niggas talking about I want to go sit with Boosie with $20,000.
I don't want to come out. I'm ready to be on the. At that point, you might as well kick it with Bow Wow just for the laugh.
Well, that's all you gonna get. I already got $50.
Matthew 16-13. Say, when Yahushua came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, "Who do men say that I, the son of Adam, am?" They said, "Some say, some John the Baptist, some Elijah, some Jeremiah, or one of his prophets." He said unto them, "But whom say you that I am?" And Simon Peter answered, "You are the pt8 living Elohim." Yahushua answered and said, "Blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood have not revealed it unto you, but my Abba which is in Shamahim. And I say unto you that you are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my house, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. I will give unto you the keys of the kingdom of Shamahim. Whatsoever you shall bind on the earth shall be bound in Shamahim. Whatsoever you shall loose on the earth shall be loosed in Shamahim." Then he charged his disciples that they should tell no man that he was Yahushua, the anointed one. From that time forth began Yahushua to show to his disciples how he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and the chief priests and scribes and be killed and raised the third day. Him just having the ability to tell them what's going to happen to him is a sign of emotional detachment. Because if he was not emotionally detached from that, he would have not been able to have the conversation to detail what was going to happen to him and that he was willing to participate. Now, I mentioned the passage last night when he said, "Not my will be done, but your will be done," when he asked the cup to pass. That is a sign of emotional attachment, because he told the apostles what? "I'm exceedingly sorrowful, even unto death." But he was able to separate his flesh from what he had to do. You know what I'm saying? And again, emotional attachment is not just with people. Man, you have to detach from your own feelings when making decisions. See, when we hear that emotional attachment, we're automatically, just like you've seen in the chat, he went automatically to people. When emotional attachment is detaching emotions, period, in decision. Because we had this conversation also, I want to see who can remember. How many days, according to the text, do you have to mourn for the dead? We had two separate men arguing the point that it ain't no cap. One dude said, "Oh, that's only an instruction for women." And this was the point that we were making. If you're mourning for somebody for 6 months, a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, if the reminder of their death puts you in emotional distress, you have an emotional attachment to that person, which is unhealthy for your state continuing forward in your life. Doesn't mean that you don't care about them. Don't mean that you don't miss them. It just means that it will put you in an emotionally distressed state. Anything that can put you in an emotionally distressed state that has time passed from it when it occurred is detrimental to you. You are emotionally attached to it. Yes, sir. Sir, we finna get in all that. I'm finna grab all the parts for that, Saran. I'm glad you mentioned that because we had that direction. Brother Craig, if you asking, we went past this a while back. I know it was yesterday. That's 30 days. When Moses passed, they mourned for him for what? 30 days. In the law, it say if you take a woman from war and you take her to be your wife, she got 30 days to bewail her father and her family. When Jephthah's daughter, they bewailed upon the mountains for 30 days. You know what I'm saying? And I told the brother that because that's what 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 tells. We're not others who have no hope. So especially if it's somebody, either way, I don't care if they're in the word or not. If you're a servant of Yahuah, there's supposed to be an understanding of going to sleep that a person who is not a servant of Yahuah does not possess. Therefore, your outlook on death is to be different. Not that you're not going to be sad, not that you're not going to miss them. That's why he kept referencing verses with Yahushua crying about this. You know what I'm talking about? It's not that it's because your homeboy passed away. I don't care, that nigga dead. That nigga's dead. You know what I'm saying? No, you're upset. Now it's different. Am I going to the graveyard for this nigga? Hell no, this nigga dead. What good is it me going out there for? To go stand up there and look at a headstone? That's a show nice headstone they got for him. You see that? Bro, you got people who go out there laying flowers, sitting with the headstone, taking pictures, dusting it off. Once I put you in there, I ain't going back out there to talk. to a dead nigga. It's a corpse out there. Happy heavenly birthday.
Yeah, that's yeah.
No, don't say happy heavenly birthday. Say happy grave birthday, because that's where they at. In the grave. Happy grave, happy Earth Day, literally. Literally.
Hopefully it's happy for them. Everybody take it.
Shoot, while they in that grave, it is happy for them. They ain't got no troubles in the grave. Ain't got no troubles in the grave. Bad days ain't no good days. It's just days. But all jokes aside, the reason why it's like that is because we don't have an emotional detachment from death. And when you don't serve Yahuah, it's tough, man. It can be tough. You understand what I'm telling you? It can be tough. But you got to understand, well, if you still beat up by the nigga and they've been dead 10, 15 years, you got a problem. You can't tell me you serve God. Now, I'm just saying that because, you know, and of course, this is a different type of scenario. A woman whose son been murdered, that'd be hard for them. Because that ain't something they anticipating. Somebody done took their son's life. And that junk break them up. You know what I'm talking about? But I get that from a woman because of the emotional fragility that she has a propensity to. Just based off of how she's created, how she's made. You know what I'm saying? But for a man, come on, bro. Come on, bro. Maybe like they say, yeah, man, my mama been dead for 15 years. You still around here weeping on her death day. Well, if she's been dead longer than you've been alive, or half as long as you've been alive, son, you need to tighten up. Tighten up, man. You know what I'm saying? You got, we were talking about this here. Some people don't even take the time to even remember a family member's death day. Some people get mad. You remember this the day such and such died? Well, dang, nigga, I didn't think I was supposed to file that away.
I might know the year. That's about it.
Yeah, that's about it.
But you got people who they'll get offended by that. You got people that they commemorate the birthday, the death date. You know what I'm saying? Do all type of stuff. That's an emotional attachment because, you know, son, we all know it. We don't like to deal with it. Everybody in here gonna meet that grave one day. You know what I'm saying? Everybody gonna meet that grave. That's guaranteed in life. That ain't something that anybody can avoid. And it's the one, and you know why people don't like it? Because it's the one thing you can't control. As Ecclesiastes said, there's no discharge in that battle. You can't control that. You don't control when, you don't control where, unless you commit suicide. You know what I'm saying? You don't control it. And that bothers people. And what bothers people is when the people that they care about leave and it wasn't nothing that they could do to change it. And that's why a lot of people end up having resentment against Yahuah when somebody passed away. When nowhere that anybody was going to live to a certain period of time, for he never told you any of that. That man told you your life is but a vapor. And that you could be here today and gone tomorrow. And you know what? As I mentioned what's in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, we ain't supposed to be sorrowful of others who have hope. You're supposed to have a different level of expectation. You're supposed to have hope for resurrection from the dead. And if you know somebody you love passed away and they didn't have that hope, you got to be real enough to say, well, that's unfortunate. Prayerfully, you have mercy on that soul because they probably not going to meet him in peace. You know what I'm saying? Little Muffin, I see you. Matthew 16:21. I see you, little Muffin. I see you cheesing. Little cheesing, baby. From that time forth began, I read that already. Verse 22. Then Peter took him and began to rebuke him. Be it far from you, Lord. This shall not be unto you. But he turned and said unto Peter, get behind me, adversary, for you are an offense to me. For you savor not the things that be of Elohim, but those that be of men. Do you see the detachment? He told Peter, you attached to the things of men and not attached to the things of Elohim. I'm not attached to the things of men. You see it. Tavon says his family literally celebrates the death dates of past family members since he could remember. They haunt past graves and all. So I'm not doing that. They ride past and beat the horn. Like that nigga get up. I appreciate that. Tell you what, I ain't been in my auntie grave in 22 years. I went one time after the funeral. My son told me like this. His son told me, don't go out there. I'm like, just go on out there and talk to her. I'm thinking in my mind, talk to who? Ain't nobody out there. Man, I went out there. My car went to smoking. I said, boy, if I can get back to the house, I ain't never coming back out this hole. And that car ain't smoked never since. And I ain't been back never since.
Like, I call it shrines, but I've seen like two people's homes where it's like just like chairs and like collectibles, probably something like with ashes or something like that.
Yeah, that's weird.
I didn't even know, like, I just was like, let me just keep walking.
I clean everything but this.
A lot of people do that. I mean, you see many shrines all across this city, but niggas died. Niggas had their little flowers, their little bears and all that. Boy, it's a little shrine right over there by Kent Night right now. That junk been there since Jit died. The house, you can see dead nigga.
It was like in the black spots.
Yes, all it's saying, dead nigga.
It get weird and weird.
And all it is because people can't let go. He said, Sean said his sisters post every year for their mother's death and go to her grave most Mother's Day. Yeah, a lot of people do. Where you going at? I'm going to grandma's grave for Mother's Day. Man, take your stupid behind and go get something to eat, nigga.
Like really going back and relive that same moment.
That's all you doing. And that's a part of that's a part of emotional attachment. When you're emotionally attached, you relive the emotional disturbance repeatedly. And you find comfort in it. Yeah. They worship idol gods, so in all honesty. But I can say like this here, for most people who ain't Mexican, like he said, you finding comfort in living in a traumatic place. Living in the fact my mama died. You can't do this to me. My daddy died. You know what I'm saying? You got some people who are the most horrible people in the world and try to get sympathy from that. You know my daddy died. Hey, why you do your people like that? Well, who?
Because I told him about that. I said, eventually you gotta get over it. I know this is writing his truth.
That nigga probably ain't sad. That nigga probably just do that with y'all so y'all can feel sad for her.
No, she doesn't know me. That's what she be doing.
She be so who?
Yeah, that's what she
She just got a new picture.
Oh no, I seen it. I ain't know the nigga was dead. I know they do, but she's smoking the COVID that she was a horrible daughter. So that's a personal problem. That ain't got nothing to do with your mama dying. You smoking because you a horrible person and you can't reconcile the fact that you was a horrible person. She was gonna die regardless. You know what I'm talking about? Whether she died then or she would have been living and died tomorrow, you still gonna be that same horrible nigga. You wasn't gonna change it.
What she gotta do is forgive herself.
That she a horrible nigga.
She gotta forgive herself. That's what she got.
That she a horrible nigga. Like, let's take a cut. See, that's why black people can't get nowhere. Because we like that. You want to try to spice it up and sprinkle sugar on it. And, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying, but clearly she perceived her interaction with her mother that she was a horrible daughter. The same token, y'all remember? Nigga out there crying, talking about he did it to you. Y'all remember? Nigga don't be going to feeling like that till now all of a sudden realize you was a piece of crap and you can't fix it because they dead. That's why I tell you don't do wrong by people while they living. You won't have to live. You won't have that guilt. You won't have that guilt. You do. And you still living with the guilt that you ain't do this and you ain't do that. Well, you could just kill all that and just do right by people. You won't have to worry about, oh, my daddy died, man. I did my daddy dirty, man. I wish he was here. I can't fix it. I just want to tell him I'm sorry. It's too late for that whole nigga. You knew you needed to do that 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? That be the thing. Now you sad when you know you could have resolved this a long time ago. And you can't do it. Cry and now some people they be close to their people. You know what I'm saying? And they be heartbroken. They gone. But you know why? Because we don't have honest conversations about death. That is coming. It's going to happen. You know what I'm talking about? And therefore, it can be easier to get your wall away. Because you look like teasing. You've been teasing. You've been teasing. Am I talking to you? Is anybody talking to grandma? No. No, and no. Oh, you didn't do it? Oh. Oh, she did. Oh, you did. Oh, you like rap. Come over here, what it is. Matthew 27, or is it 26? Let me see. Hey, little muffin, don't be over there hitting people. Now, when he hits you back, you're going to be crying. Because Joseph hit back. 27 and 6, 26. You're going to see in this instance, Peter couldn't emotionally detach. Yeah, he finna deny. Without, in the palace, a damsel came unto him saying, you was, well, let's see, what is that, right? Hold on. I want to make sure I ain't skipping over that, man. Yeah, Matthew 26.
Yahuah.
I feel I'm skipping something. Hold on, man. Yeah, back it up to 20. Back it up in 26 and bring it to 31, because that's what I'm skipping something. I know they're saying they having some connection issues on their side. Matthew 26 and 31. Then said Yahushua unto them, all you shall be offended because of me this night. For it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad. But after I'm arisen again, I will go before you into Galilee. See, Peter's supposed to be emotionally detached here because he had already told them previously, before this happened, what was going to happen to him. And what did he do? He had to rebuke it. Peter answered and said unto him, though all shall be offended because of you, I will never be offended. Yahushua said unto him, truly, I say unto you that this night before the cock crow you shall deny me thrice. Peter said unto him, though I should die with you, yet will I not deny you. Likewise said all the disciples. But guess what? He couldn't detach from his flesh and listen to what the man was telling him, because he telling them what's going to happen before it happened. Verse 69. Little muffin, cut it out. You in the tantrum mode these days. Oh, you swinging on people? Little muffin, don't nobody believe you. Don't nobody believe you. Now, this is Matthew 26 and 69. In the palace, and the damsel came unto him, saying, you were also with Yahushua of Galilee. But he denied before all, saying, I know not what you say. And when he was going out to the porch, another saw him and said unto him, them that were there, this was also with Yahushua of Nazareth. And again he denied him with an oath, saying, I do not know the man. After a while came unto him, stood by and said to Peter, surely you are one of them, for your speech bewray you. Then he began to curse and to swear, I know not the man. And immediately the cock crew. And Peter remembered the word of Yahushua, which he said unto him, before the cock crow, you shall deny Christ. And he went out and wept bitterly. Hit him in the heart. But all this became because he couldn't detach. That this wasn't going, at the end of the day, he couldn't detach from the fact that the Lord was going to die. He couldn't separate himself from that. To hear what actually the man was saying to him. I'm ready to die. He said, though I die with you, I won't deny you. And he ain't die with it. He sure denied it. But for him, it was not even that he came out of the type of man that he was. You, my Lord, I'm riding. So I can't fathom the fact that you would say I would leave you and let you go to battle by yourself. You know what I'm talking about? They're going to have to kill me too. Not understanding I got to go. Yeah, that really cool. People with it. But you know how real of a homeboy you got to have to say, hey, man, though I die with you, one thing I ain't going to do is say you ain't my homeboy. Shoot, I'm going to die with you. I ain't going to do that. And he did the opposite. But he had to do it because he wasn't emotionally detached from the situation. Remember what he told him, get behind the adversary, because you're saying things that be a man. You're attached to the flesh, and I'm attached to heaven, and that's different. What, deny him? With Samson? And then a couple others, and Job. Yeah.
He said where it's written that.
Where it's written where he would deny him, like, you know, I'm gonna become an alien to my familiar friends. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. You know, he had to do it. It was written. He had to do it. You know what I'm saying? But just on the natural side of it, this is Lord and Master. Peter's all in. So he cut off the man. We didn't read that. He cut off the man's ear for running up on him with no hesitation. He didn't tell him, Peter, cut him. As soon as Peter seen him coming, ha! You know what I'm saying? Because in his mind, he doing what a soldier is supposed to do. I'm not going to let you touch my king. That's what I'm not going to do. I'll die before I let you do that. You know what I'm saying? Not understanding, well, son, if you don't do that, you're going to die either way. You know what I'm saying? And he couldn't detach from that. You know what I'm talking about? And that's another element of emotional detachment. Emotional detachment is separating your flesh or your feelings from what is actually occurring. And that didn't have nothing to do necessarily with his attachment to the Lord. It was his attachment to the viewpoint of the situation and circumstance and how it should have been handled. Because what did he tell Peter when he cut cuz ear off? Put up that sword. He that live by the sword, gonna die by the sword. He said, can I not call for 12 legions of Malachim? But how would the scripture be fulfilled? Because it was more important that the will of heaven be accomplished than for the will of man to be accomplished. And that's why a lot of people have a problem with this word, because they can't detach. Yeah, he put the dude's ear right back on his head. It's right here in John. Come over here. I'm right here by it, actually. Hey, here, get your ear, cuz. Get your ear.
Those that have an ear, let me know.
What it is? John 18 and 7. Well, I think it's a show he put his ear back on. But here it tell you his name. 18 and 7. John, then said he them again, whom seek you? They said, Yahushua Nazareth. Yahushua answered, I told you that I am. If they seek me, let these go their way, that the saying might be fulfilled, which you spake of them, which you gave me, I've lost none. Then Simon Peter, having a sword, drew it, smote the high priest's servant, and cut off his right ear. The servant's name was Malchus. Then said Yahushua unto Peter, put up your sword into the sheath. The cup which my father hath given me, shall I not drink it? Now, of course, that's in Matthew 26, where you show you, he put Buddy ear back on. You know, but the other one said the disciple did it. You know what I'm saying? But John lets you know it was Peter who did it and who Peter did it to. That show you that Peter wasn't no hoe. He wasn't no sucker. That boy, as soon as the boy came, yeah. If it had been up to Peter, Peter would have went to war with everybody who came against the Lord night. And that was regardless if any other disciple were going to ride. It didn't matter. If it was up to Peter, he would have went to war that night. You know what I'm saying? He was with it. 21 and 15, John. So when they had dined, Yahushua said to Simon Peter, Simon of Jonas, love you more than these? He said unto him, yea, Lord, you know that I love you. He said unto him, feed my lambs. He said unto him again, the second time, Simon of Jonas, love you me? He said unto him, yea, Lord, you know that I love you. He said unto him, feed my sheep. He said unto him the third time, Simon of Jonas, love you me? He was grieved because he said unto him the third time, love you me? And he said unto him, Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you. Yahushua said unto him, feed my sheep. Truly, truly, I say unto you, when you were young, you girded yourself and walked where you would. But when you shall be old, you shall stretch forth your hands, and others will gird you and carry you whither you would not. This spake he, signifying what death he should, it's Elohim. And when he spoken this, he said unto him, follow me. Then Peter, turning about, seeing the disciple whom Yahushua loved, which also leaned on his breast at supper, said, Lord, which is he that betrayed you? Peter, seeing him, said to Yahushua, Lord, what shall this man? Yahushua said unto him, if I will that he tarry till I come, what is that to you? Follow you me. This went to saying abroad among the brethren that the disciple should not die. Yet Yahushua said unto him, he shall not die. But what if I will tarry till I come? What is that to you? That response right there show you that the Lord was not, he wasn't going to spare your feelings. That man say, what is that to you? You know, most people, somebody, a man would have said that to you, your feelings would have been hurt. If you be like, oh, what's she going to do? What is that to you? Go do what I told you to do. But see, that's the difference, because as a little man, you may have to talk to men like that. See, that was wrong. Now, you can't talk to men like a child. That response is something that you would say to a child. What is that to you? Go do what I told you to do. And then you can see how men operate, because they went and said something totally different than what the man said. The man, I see you, boy. Let's come over here and look at David and Jonathan real quick. What you laughing about, little muffin? I can say emotional attachment is one of the difficult things to do. But I'll tell you this here. If you can detach from your emotions, your life becomes a whole lot different. Let me see where I want. You know what? I'm going to take a different route. 2 Samuel chapter 1. Matter of fact, before I even do that, let's finish this 2 Chronicles 19. Let's do that, because we ain't even finished that. 2 Chronicles 19 and 1. Yeah, Solomon in that instance, see that the judgment of Elohim will allow you to, there's no way that you can have the judgment of Elohim and not be detached. There's no way that you can have it and not be emotionally detached. It's impossible. Because you're going to judge everything according to the word. Come here, little muffin. Come here, little muffin. Come here, little muffin. Leah, get her on the floor, please. Second Chronicles 19. Get out of there, little muffin. Close it. No, don't you start doing that, and you wrong. Well, go get in the bed then. Second Chronicles 19 and 1. Now Jehoshaphat had riches and honor and abundance and joined affinity with Ahab. After years, he went down to Ahab to Samaria. We're in 18 and 1. That's what we started at in Chronicles. Second Chronicles 18 and 1. Ahab killed sheep and oxen for him in abundance for the people that he had with him, and persuaded him to go up to Ramoth Gilead. Ahab, king of Yasharal, said unto Jehoshaphat, Malachah, Yahuah, will you go up with me to Ramoth Gilead? He answered, I am as you are, my people as your people, and we will be with you in war. Jehoshaphat said unto the king of Yasharal, inquire, I pray you, at the word of Yahuah today. Therefore the Malachah Yasharal gathered together of the prophets 400 men, and said unto them, shall we go to Ramoth Gilead to battle, or should I forbear? And they said, go up, for Elohim will deliver it into the king's hand. But Jehoshaphat said, is there not here a prophet of Yahuah besides, that we might inquire of them? And the Malachah Yasharal said to Jehoshaphat, there's yet one man by whom we may inquire of Yahuah, but I hate him. For he never prophesied good unto me, but always evil. The same as Micaiah, the son of Imlah. Jehoshaphat said, let not the king say so. The king of Yasharal called for one of his officers and said, fetch quickly Micaiah, the son of Imlah. And the Malachah Yasharal and Jehoshaphat, Malachah Yehudah, sat either on them on his throne, clothed their robes, and they sat in a void place at the entering of the gate of Samaria, and all the prophets prophesied before them. Zechariah, the son of had made him horns of iron, said, thus saith Yahuah, with these shall you push Syria until they be consumed. All the prophets prophesied so. Go up to Ramoth Gilead and prosper, for Yahuah shall deliver it into the hand of the king. The messenger went to call Micaiah, spake to him, saying, behold, the word of the prophets declared good to the king, with one assent. Let your word, therefore, I pray you be like one of theirs, and speak you good. Micaiah said, as Yahuah live, even what my Elohim say, that will I speak. You see that emotional? Did you see how he wanted him to be emotionally attached to the outcome that the king wanted? He said, whatever Yahuah say to speak, that's what I'm going to speak. That's the same thing that the king of Moab tried to do with Balaam. I want you to say what I want you to say. He said, I can only say what Yahuah put in my mouth to say. There's no way that you could be a servant of Yahuah, be emotionally attached. Because to be emotionally attached is to go against the will of Yahuah. Not that you being emotionally attached is against the will of Yahuah, but being emotionally attached will cause you to make decisions, to cause you to go against the will of Yahuah, because you will not assess and judge things according to the righteousness of Elohim. You know what I'm talking about? Very, very dangerous place to be. And when he was come to the king said unto him, Micaiah, shall we go to Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear? And he said, go you up and prosper, and ye shall be delivered into your hand. And the king said to him, how many times shall I adjure thee that you say nothing but the truth to me in the name of Yahuah? Tavon stated that he's noticed when you're detaching, your decision making becomes clear, your self-awareness rises, and clear equals personal awareness equals balance. That's what you say he is learned in his travels. And it definitely does. Your decision making definitely becomes clear when you learn to detach. Then when you're able to detach, you'll definitely be aware of what you're good at and what you're not. That's one of the biggest mistakes that men have, being attached to their ego, not understanding what you're good at and what you're not. You know what I'm saying? Every man should know what you're good at and what you're not. Then once you're able to ascertain what you're not good at, now you have two choices. You can really three. You can be a jackass and try to continue to do things that you know you're not good at and have a resounding result of failure continually. You can actually just what's the word looking at? Outsource out to whatever it is that you're not good at to someone who is, or spend the time to actually strengthen yourself in that particular area so that it is no longer a weakness. Those are only three options you got. You know what I'm talking about? You don't have, there's nothing else that can be done. Or maybe four, you can just ignore it. Now, every element of life you can't outsource out if it's a weakness. Of course, I was referring to say something if it would be business related. You know what I'm saying? But if it's something intrinsically that you need, that is a weakness for you that you would need to make better, then you need to make it better. See, when you're emotionally attached to your ego, your sense of superiority and self-worth, you won't recognize a weakness as a weakness, and you will allow that weakness to continue to be a weakness and be detrimental to multiple areas of your life, because that weaknesses do. They metastasize like a cancerous tumor, and they spread. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? Our people don't like to deal with stuff like that because most people are not self-aware. That's what I tell you. Self-awareness is the ability, like I mentioned last night, to look somebody in the face and say, I don't know what I'm doing, I need help. That's self-awareness. Lack of self-awareness says I can figure it out on my own. That means you're not aware enough to know that you don't even know how to do this. And your pride and ego won't allow you to seek assistance from somebody more skilled than you. Very detrimental. You know what I'm talking about? Because now you know what you're going to end up doing? Wasting time and resources, throwing rocks at a brick wall, hoping it's going to break it. You know what I'm saying? You got to be a special type of student to be throwing rocks at a brick wall. Surely this pebble will break through, and surely I shall be free. It's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? So awareness allows you to say, I don't know what I'm doing. Let me find something done. That's how successful people become successful and stay that way. If you talk to most people who are very, very wealthy or rich or successful in any endeavor, they can tell you that they had a moment of consternation, a conundrum that was before their face, and they went and found somebody who was more skilled than them to assist them in that so that they could overcome it. You know what I'm saying? That thought process, I just thought till I came in. That's in the movies and TV. That don't happen in real life. I tell you, People, you know, I guarantee you they can tell you that they ran through an obstacle or something they wasn't good at, and they went and found somebody who was. That either they did it for them, or they showed them how to do it, or they pointed to somebody who knew how to do it to overcome that obstacle. Because as you can already see through the text, ain't nobody in this text overcame nothing by themselves. You know what I'm talking about? Nothing by themselves. Ain't nobody in this text over. Abraham didn't beat the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah by himself. He had a whole army. You know what I'm talking about? Noah wasn't by himself. His sons was right there with him. They might have thought he was crazy, but they were right there with him. He wasn't by himself. When the Lord went to get crucified, he wasn't by himself. They saw Simon the Cyrene with him. And what he was doing, bearing his stake. You know what I'm saying? That's just I can't even say that's a Caucasian way of thinking. That's a false narrative that they put in movies and television to cause people to be solo actors. To feed you and really to keep you mind in a point that you won't be successful. Because any book I've never read on somebody who was successful, I never read them talking about I just did this on my own. I ain't know what I was doing. They all went and sought out people. But it takes humility to do that. You know what I'm saying? It takes self-awareness and humility to say, man, you hire a team. You hire people that are smarter than you. You know what I'm saying? People that think that that's not what you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? You got it in your mind. You got to do everything. Absolutely not. Shoot, absolutely. I ain't got it. No. Somebody who do. But you know what you don't do it, what I was telling Big Time the other day. Because niggas selfish. Because they want all the money for themselves. And you don't want to forsake a small amount of profit to somebody else to make more money in the long run. You want the whole kit and caboodle. You know what I'm saying? You're going to go way further with a team than you did by yourself. There ain't no one-man company that man. Not one. Well, they got a team of people together that were better than them. But see, a lot of men's ego will not allow them to say that this man is better than me in this area. So what, he better than you in this area? You better than him in this area. You put you two things together, now you can win. Now, the worst thing you want to have is a group of incompetent, because then there's no way you're going to win. Remember, by definition, incompetence just means lack of skill. It doesn't mean that you're stupid. Doesn't mean you're unintelligent. It means you don't have the skill in a particular area. And we all know what can happen for a skill. You can acquire a skill. But acquiring skill takes what? Education. And guess what? What did he get that to? More people who teach word, they incompetent because they lack skill in war. They lack kokma. They lack wisdom. So therefore, they do not have the skill to be able to impart skill unto others in order that they may be successful, because they lack that skill, which is wisdom. And wisdom is skill in war, meaning the ability to emotionally detach, to have proper judgment, to make the right decision on what to do and what not to do in any given situation. Because at the end of the day, that's what wisdom is. Wisdom is emotional detachment. So if you have emotional detachment, then you don't have wisdom. And what is wisdom? Last night, the fear of Yahuah is wisdom. So your reverence and honor and respect for Yahuah, which references back to that Luke 14, which references back to that Matthew 19, is that you're going to hold fast to the will of Elohim in your decision making. That is the hallmark of a man who is his peak value in Elohim by operating in this fashion. Wisdom is emotional detachment. The skill war. That's all it is. That's what it is. Is right or wrong? Is that what the definition of? So that's skill. So you know what to do. When you lack skill, you don't know what to do.
You got insight.
So that's when you get understanding. Yeah, if you try to do something, you know what you're doing. That's an emotional move in and of itself. And again, that goes back to what are men told in this society? Figure it out. That's imbecilic instruction to a young man, because you're not teaching a young man to go find men who are more skilled than you so you can acquire the skill. You're telling a man that he can acquire a skill on his own by trial and error. That's stupidity. Yeah, figure it out. Get it out the mud. That, and the third. No, that's not how strong communities are built. They're built by learning from the experience and skill of older men. Yeah, I'm talking about, now this, of course, most people don't know this, if you don't take the time to read about ancient societies and how they worked. Because it's the only society that I've ever seen in my travels, I could be wrong, where men were just told that they had to figure stuff out. Because usually how things went down is that young men weren't out here floating on their own anyway. You know what I'm saying? They were under supervision of their father till set time that they were prepared to have a family, and then that time they had the skills necessary to fulfill whatever endeavors that they were involved in. See, now it's different. Now you get to a certain age, you go figure it out. And you don't have a group of men where you could go to and access them for their skills, their wisdom, their information, their knowledge, their insight, and now you just out here struggling. And then, of course, you got, really it come from this here, this is what I told big time. That doesn't really come from most of us raised by women. And women tell you, see, women expect men to solve problems. You know what I'm saying? That's just off the top. A woman expects a man to solve problems. If there's a problem, she expects you to have the ability and skill to solve it. That's just off top. It's in here. Am I lying? Is that not how y'all feel? If there's a problem and you bring, do you not expect this nigga to be able to solve this problem? You don't want to solve it. Because if you wanted to solve it, you wouldn't even brought it to him. You know what I'm saying? That's if she's dealing with a man on an intimate level. She's expecting him that he can solve problems. So raised by your mother with no strong masculine influence, she's approaching you like she would approach her man. Son, you should be able to solve it. Well, he ain't never been trained how to solve problems, baby. How he gonna do that? So now he been thrown out there. So in his mind, he got to figure it out because this is the information that his mother, grandmother, auntie, this is what they done told him. Then you congregating with other young men who come from similar situations and they're getting the same instruction. So now you have just the men who feel like, I just got to figure it out. That's what men do. And it's fallacy. Because if you're raised, I'm talking about men, not males, men. If you're instructed by men, they're going to tell you, son, if you don't know what you're doing, get with us. We'll show you how to do it. We'll show you this. We'll show you that. Because why? Because man is invested in what? That young man's success. See, your mama's not invested in your success. She don't give a damn if you succeed. She wants you to get the hell out of her face. Get out my house and go figure life out. Because mama, what'd you say? Mama got to live too, Joe. Ain't that what she told her? You seen what she just said? She boasting about getting a train ran on at 50 years old. Talking about, well, they do it at the same time. They flip-flop. Baby, you had two penises in you simultaneously. I don't care what you say. But I'm just telling you the difference. Your father is investing in yourself. Your mama just going to do enough for you to get out of here so she ain't got to be responsible for you no more. Don't mean she don't love you. Don't mean she don't care about you. But she don't want to be responsible for you no more. Don't want to solve your problems no more. I don't want to do nothing for you no more. Play with it. Did your mama want to come solve your problems? Or did she send you to your step? I don't know. She might have looked at your stepdad as a help me. You know what I'm saying? So she might have not sent y'all to him. She probably told you, I figured it out. Or she just look at you, I ain't got nothing. I don't know what to tell you, but I'll tell you some old stupid junk. You be like, you know what? I might as well talk to the dog. Am I lying? When dealing with your father and mother, did your father seek to solve your problems? That's unfortunate. Now, that's no disrespect. That means you were dealing with a man. Now, maybe your mama broke him down. When I say problems, not your little problem. So that means to solve problems. So that means I was asking you that. Was he a help me, or did she send y'all to him? That's my point. So that means you seen him as the ability to solve because you didn't even go talk to her. But I mean, but at the end of the day, you see what you did? So that's what the point I was getting to. If you had a problem or an issue, was you gonna go to your or was you gonna go to your daddy? And if you knew you had a problem, you would 9 times out of 10 want to go to the man. Because the man would have the ability to solve your problem. You know that woman's not going to solve your problem because that's not what she does. Because the ability to solve problems is a burden of leadership. It's a burden of responsibility. It's a burden that women don't want. And there's nothing wrong with them not wanting it. You know what I'm saying? See, dudes of this generation are upset that women don't want that burden. They've never had that burden in human history. From the time Eve was taken out of Adam's rib, she's never had that burden to solve problems. She's a problem maker. She ain't a problem taker. She don't take problems. You understand? Because at the end of the day, we had a problem, and what happened? Your husband solved your problem. You know what I'm talking about? So as a man, you have to already know going into interaction, the woman has an inherent expectation that you can solve problems. It's because you got a lot of weak males out here in this generation that complain about women being women. Okay, we got this problem. You got a financial problem, and you looking for her to solve her own problem. Nigga, you gotta solve it. You know what I'm saying? You got to figure that out. It's a problem with the kids. Nigga, she can't solve it. You got to solve it. You know what I'm talking about? Period, point blank. The problem is, you know what, and I meant that again, the reason why most young men look to solve their problem because they were not looking for a helpmeet to lead. They were looking for a mother to nurture. They were looking for a mother to nurture them. When you get a wife, you said, I'm going to lead her. See, that's the only thought process you're supposed to have dealing with a woman. I'm going to lead her. I'm going to take her where I'm going. I'm taking her somewhere. Not that you need her to nurture you and love you. That was your mama job. If your mama didn't do it for you and you need a therapist. Because all you know what you're going to end up doing? Her. Now, she can't look at you as her leader. She look at you as her son. She can't respect it. I always got to hold this nigga while he crying. He always need me to hug him and do this here. Nigga, leave me alone and tell me what to do. I don't want to do this, nigga. I'm going to tell you, it's inherent. They don't say it verbally. It's not like stuff that's popping in their head. It's how their emotions begin to well up in them. And then that's where the disrespect comes from. I just told somebody this the other night, like, boom. Nigga keep doing whole stuff, that disrespect going to come out. You're not trying to disrespect. You ain't looking to disrespect. But you begin to see him as a woman, so you're going to begin to interact with him like a woman. And he gonna take that as disrespect, that you really disrespecting yourself because you're not behaving like a man. Now she can't view you as the leader that she wants to do you as. And it just is what it is. Second Chronicles Chapter 18, verse 16. Then he said, I did see all Yasharal scattered upon the mountains as sheep that have no shepherd. Yahuah said, they have no master. Let them return every man to his house in peace. The master of Yasharal, Jehoshaphat, did I not tell you that he would not prophesy good unto me, but evil? Again, he said, therefore, hear the word of Yahuah. I saw Yahuah sitting upon his throne, and all the host of Shamahim standing on his right hand and on his left. And again, he tell him, he's going to send a lying prophet in his mouth. But we're just dealing with the fact of Jehoshaphat's supposed to left right then. He supposed to be like, you know what, bro? I'm going to holler at you. Remember what it said in Kings? He said, man, if it wasn't just for Jehoshaphat, nigga, I don't even see you. That's how much discussion who will have for Ahab. 2 Chronicles 19:1. Jehoshaphat, the Malach of Yehudah, returned to his house in Shalom, Jerusalem. And of course, Ahab was murdered on the battlefield, if you didn't know. Murdered on the battlefield. Jehu, the son of Hanai, the seer, went out to meet him and said to King Jehoshaphat, should you help the ungodly, love them that hate Yahuah? Therefore, wrath is upon you from before Yahuah. And that's what happens when you are emotionally attached. You will love them that hate Yahuah. Now, all of a sudden, guess what got to happen? Now the wrath of Yahuah. And how did he love them that hate Yahuah? What did Jehoshaphat do to show that he loved them that hated Yahuah? What did he do? That, but you know what he did to show that? Besides the disguising in the battles, what I just mentioned. He went against the word. He heard the prophecy straight from Micaiah on what was going to happen, and then you disguise yourself to go up to battle anyway when you should have left.
If you come back, nigga, I'm capping.
Straight up.
That's what he told me. He said, you come back, I'm capping. You lying.
Definitely did.
I would have told you, put your that, you supposed to be like,
I'm out of here.
yeah.
I ain't fooling with it. He fooled with it. Look at it. What is that? Where we at? Where we at? That's when the dude slapped him in the mouth. Verse 24. And Micaiah said, this is 18 to 24 Chronicles. And Micaiah said, behold, shall see on that you shall go into the inner chamber to hide yourself. Then the Malachah Yasharal said, take you, Micaiah, and carry him back to Amon, the governor of the city, and to Joash, the king's son. And say, thus saith the king, put this fellow into prison and feed him with the bread of affliction and the water of affliction until I return in peace. And Micaiah said, you certainly return in peace. Then have not Yahuah spoken by me? And he said, hearken you people. Say, boy, if you come back, boy, Yahuah had it. Because you dying today, boy. You know what I'm talking about? Well, you're not coming back around here. You know what I'm saying? Just like Ahab couldn't emotionally detach from his disobedience of wanting to go up there and fool with them people. Because you know how he knew that? He never speaks right concerning me. So he already knew Micaiah was telling him the truth. But he was attached to his desire to do what he wanted to do. See, we ain't even got time to deal with David and Jonathan Saul talking about emotional attachment and detachment, because that's a story all in and of itself. Because at the end of the day, the key component that you keep seeing is that these people were attached to obeying Yahuah versus attached to their own desires or the people around them. That's the only. Remember, he said, he that is joined to Elohim is one ruach. You know the Hebrew word for oneness, Michael? We're going to have to give you homework, huh? Because you failed. You're going to get an F this semester. Oh, would you? Niggas have said that in the past and they didn't turn in their assignments. Ain't lying. Did you know I ain't lying? She doesn't turn hers in. You rolling your eye. Did I lie? Your assignments, yes, ma'am. You see this right here? I'm gonna stop it. You don't like it? Shoot, pull the car. Shoot, nigga, that's was some years ago, nigga. I ain't no elephant.
They thought you pulled tricks out the hat.
I ain't no rabbit. No source. Warlock. Things of that sort. Little Muffin. I see you. Little Muffin. Come on back to 2 Chronicles 19. Well, go ahead and get up under there. Who crying? What y'all did to that baby? Hey, Ruth. 2 Chronicles 19 and 2. One more time. We're going to end on 2 Chronicles. I know some of y'all been having some connection issues. I can't call it. You know what the niggas say. That's YouTube. They shadow ban. Hey, I ain't gonna cap now. Sometimes they do things like that. I don't think we have enough views or subscribers for them to participate in such a matter. You know what I'm talking about? They definitely got dudes, boy, that they'll come with the fake strikes, take dudes' channels down, all that type of stuff. But see, like I said, see, you gotta have. See, that's the only thing. That's the only reason why we wouldn't get on Patreon, because niggas have to pay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there's a lot of brews on Patreon. I couldn't ask a nigga to be like, we live streaming at 6 o'clock, and you got to pay every month to see it. Nigga, that's gay. That's just my opinion. That's my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I ain't mad at nobody else who do it, but I can't do it. Now, it's different if you're doing different time. I'm talking about like the actual open up the trap house. I got to pay a cover charge. Exclusive precepts. You know what I'm saying? Oh, live on my Patreon. You know what I'm saying? These precepts you'll never hear anywhere else. Live on my Patreon.
Or you can get the scriptures after dark.
Not scriptures after dark. Live on my Patreon.
They doing it.
You want to keep hearing this word? Live on Patreon. Unsubscribe.
Pay that time.
Pay that tithe. That's all. This is a free will offering of the Lord. Boy, ugly man. And Jehu, son of Hananiah, seer, went out to meet him and said, King Jehoshaphat, should you help the ungodly and love them that hate Yahuah? Therefore is wrath upon you from Yahuah. Nevertheless, there are good things found in you, and that you've taken away the groves out of the land, and have prepared your heart to seek Elohim. Jehoshaphat saw that Jerusalem went out again through the people from Beersheba to Mount Ephraim, and brought them back unto Yahuah Elohim of their fathers. He set judges in the land throughout the fenced cities of Yehudah, city by city, and said to the judges, take heed what ye didn't do it, for iniquity with Yahuah Elohim, nor respect of persons, nor taking of gifts. Notice what he said to let be upon them. The fear of Yahuah. And if the fear of Yahuah is upon them, then what does that mean they possess? Wisdom. And if they possess wisdom, that means they have skill. And if they have skill, then they can detach. But hallelujah for y'all in the word. We'll stop right there. We very well continue with the emotional attachment. We may not. Yahuah knows. By the house of Allah, in the name of Yahushua, I appreciate your time this evening. Yahuah willing, we'll pick it up on Wednesday. Make it do what it do. Don't get upset with them people because they out here keeping a festival of Lupercalia now. You know what I'm saying? Let the people have their fun in the sun and get fun. You know what I'm talking about? Yahuah willing, till the next time. What may I do for you? And